because I thought that Frank represents a level of independent thinking, of thinking outside the box and against the grain in Irish culture and society. And I thought it was very useful to contribute to his independent Cassandra Voices. Now, to be stressed, I think Ireland has gone through an intellectual black hole. It's finished intellectually in many ways. And outside the Village magazine, which I also contribute to, which is obviously driven by considerations of reacting to current events, the only public intellectual forum, bar the Crane Bag, which was 20 years ago in Ireland of any note, I think is Frank's enterprise. And I think why that is the case is you can have obscure journals of limited levels of circulation or specialist journals which appeal to the legal community or whatever community. But the form of public intellectualism was a black hole, and Frank's resolved that problem and got a mosaic of different people of the loosely defined Irish intelligentsia to contribute beyond their specific disciplines to many of the issues that affect Ireland nationally and internationally. And I was obviously delighted. Well, on a more basic level, I wrote a piece which might be the springboard for this called Culture of Complaint, which no one else would publish. I had a friend of mine, a famous journalist in Ireland, I won't name her, who said it's only for private circulation. And in fairness to Frank, he had the courage to publish it. Now, I mention in this context because a Culture of Complaint, which I think was in January 2017 or February 2017, whenever the magazine initially, or the Public Intellectual Forum came out, has led to a monthly essay from mine since then, sometimes two. And Frank also, and you, Daniela, have to react to current events. So sometimes he's asked me extempore for something that addresses contemporary considerations, such as, for example, some things I wrote in Brexit for the magazine. But generally speaking, I think it's very important because Ireland has always been a kind of philosophical, intellectual void at one level. I mean, apart from Bishop Berkeley, there's no tradition of rigorous philosophy. And Edmund Burke, who I might address, is about the only person who's become an internationally famous political philosopher, although also a politician. And that which exists as public intellectuals in Ireland has become marginalised now to the point of oblivion and extinction. And that has created this terrible vista that there is no real criticism of the powers that be that affects anything, and no bridge between the public intellectual and political office. I mean, if you look at Václav Havel, for example, Havel became Prime Minister of Czechoslovakia. Conor Cruise O'Brien, perhaps the last Irish public intellectual of any note, was a very disappointing minister, but he did become a minister in the government. And it is really, my late friend Adrian Hardiman became a Supreme Court judge. But that is now gone. And there are reasons for that. So that is one of the many reasons that I contribute to the worthwhile endeavour of Cassandra Voices. And I think it does fulfil that, but of course it needs national and international support. And the outreach of the public intellectual website touches on issues that affect everybody in the planet, not just Ireland. And Frank and yourself, Daniela, are very good at outreaching to all the other issues in the interconnected world, where Ireland is effectively, in any event, a client or parasitic state, dependent, despite people's lack of cognizance of, say, international forces and influences. So it's a great thing.